Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Code Chameleon, another podcast for you today. And today we're talking AI, just like everyone else, it seems. AI is the talk of the town, and that's no exaggeration for sure. Today's guest is Jesper Jensen, and I think he's a great guy. I have met very, very few people that has an unrelenting drive and intellect like Jesper has. When Jesper decides to do something, he gets it done, people. Super impressive guy. I've had the pleasure of working together with him, and just a true wizard at the keyboard for sure. True nerd, not afraid of diving into any rabbit hole, and I think we're gonna notice that today. And outside of coding, he has a passion for beer. But let's talk about that a little bit, Jesper. Tell me, who are you?
Ooh, that's always a good question, right? It's one of the hard ones. So who am I? Proper nerd, always playing with computers ever since I was very, very young. I think I got my first Commodore 64 at 8 and then started playing around with coding on that, and then it just took off from there. I do have a degree in civil engineering, which is not very computer-like, but at some point I also needed to do something else than computers. And then I went straight back to computers and software. So it's been 17 plus years as a developer and engineer. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are you up to these days?
Oh, I'm just in between tasks. So, but I've been up to doing a lot of agentic AI, working with AI agents in large corporations, helping them implement and drive how to adopt AI in a fashionable way that actually creates value for the business rather than just being another Claude prompt or Copilot setup that doesn't really kind of hit the nerve. So that's been fun building agents.
Yeah. And you're a freelance consultant.
Absolutely.
I might
All the
add.
way.
Yeah. Just like me. So you can hire us, guys, if you want to.
Just give us a call. We're ready.
Yeah, we are totally ready. Yeah, for sure. So just to warm things up, we have a small segment called "What's in Your Office." And as nerds, we usually have some weird stuff in our office, like something that we picked up on a holiday that's kind of became our like little guy like this one. I have this. This is my weird thing in the office, like a skull. It's actually like a Christmas decoration.
It's a skull Christmas decoration. I love it. It's good.
What do you have? Something weird?
I got this one.
Oh, that's nice. Never forget.
Never
and
forget
I bet
where
your
we came
kids are
from,
like,
guys.
"What the hell is that, Dad?"
So, what's this weird thing? And this thing is kind of broken, and yeah, you can't use this for anything. And people forget what they are, right? I mean, try to giving one of these Gen Z people a cassette tape and then make the band actually curl up a little bit and then see what happens. They will not know how to get that fixed. They'll probably break it before they even got it working right. So
it's also
just to
a sign
remember
that
the
we're
good old
getting
days.
old.
Yeah, good old days.
And I see you have your beer equipment in the background as well.
Oh yes, that's the other thing. So during COVID, when nobody had anything to do, I had to find out to do like something else that's in front of my computer, and I ended up brewing craft beer, and I've been doing that ever since.
Cool.
It's an expensive and fun hobby. I mainly do lagers. I do enjoy a good lager. Doesn't have to be fancy, just simple, clean, to the point. Nothing flashy, just good proper taste.
Yeah,
a clean brew. I like the German Reinheitsgebot way of doing things. Not that I can follow it all the way, but I like the purity law. It just makes sense in a beer.
Yeah. Just like me. Like I can't stand that fancy IPA and all that stuff. It's not for me.
I gotta be honest. In the beginning, I kind of jumped that wagon, but nowadays I'm not a fan of IPAs. It's rarely I get an IPA where I'm like, "Oh, this is a nice beer." I'm always like, "Oh, it's too much hop. Oh, it's the same one as everybody else." Yeah. Like, come on, guys, be creative. Do something proper. Do a clean beer. You also got to be honest and say when you do craft beer, doing an IPA, it has a lot of more room for errors. I mean, you can really fuck up that brew, and it'll still just be hitting in all that hops and all that bitterness. If you do a lager at 5%, there's not enough room to kind of mess that up. If you make a bad brew, it's a bad brew. You just have to trash it and do a new one.
So is AI helping you brewing the beer?
Oh, absolutely not. no chance in hell I'm leaving that to AI. It's too important. I mean, AI is for the fun stuff and for daily work, but it's not for the really important stuff like brewing beer.
Yeah. Cool stuff. All right. So the next segment is called binary battle, and that's basically I'm going to give you two different statements, and you can only choose one, just to get a little sense of like who you are and your preferences in the world of coding.
All right,
So,
let's roll.
Yeah, let's roll. Bug hunting or feature building?
Oh, I do love a good bug hunt. I mean, feature building is fun, but that bug hunt, when you kind of find that red thread and you start pulling it and everything just gives, and then all of a sudden things are working and you might even get some performance enhancements. That really does it for me.
Yeah. And it's no surprise to me that you're saying bug hunting, because I've seen you there. Like, you're in the zone, man. You're totally in the zone.
It's good fun, right? You're banging your head against the wall. You're pulling your hair. You're almost about to just move into the woods, forget computers ever existed, and then you find that like small trace of a thread, and then you start putting it, and then stuff starts happening, and then it's like a rush of adrenaline. That's the best part.
Yeah, I totally agree. Early bird coder or night owl hacker?
Oh, I'm an early bird.
Yeah, I know. You were always in the office when I came in the morning,
always.
And I come in early.
Yeah, but sometimes it's also a late night. But to be honest, I don't function well late at night. Early bird, that's what works.
Yeah. I'm more of a night owl, but small kids and stuff like that makes you an early bird.
That's what got me started on that track, and now I just can't go back to being a night owl. It's too late. Getting too old. It's 9 o'clock. It's my bedtime.
Yeah, past bedtime.
Yeah.
Mechanical keyboard or silent keys?
Oh, but that's not exclusive, because I do have a mechanical keyboard with silent keys.
Okay, well looped and stuff like that.
But mechanical keyboard is definitely the only kind of keyboard I use.
But not the clicky ones.
No, my wife will murder me if I buy the one with the Gator on blue keys. Then I'll either be divorced or dead. It's gonna be one of those.
And the neighbors will sue you.
And I kind of get it. So I usually go with the silent red keys.
Yeah. I prefer silent as well. It's just at first it's nice, like the clicky sound, but then it just gets it's too much.
I mean, imagine the noise that must have been. I mean, back in the days, right, when IBM had those super nice mechanical keyboards, people have small offices. There are no open office spaces. It was like, at least not in the Nordics. So you'll be like 2-3 guys in an office. That's manageable. But think about it nowadays, right? In a big room office with 50 developers all hacking away on those keyboards. I mean, the noise alone would kind of make the kind of break some sort of work code. It'd be a work code violation just on the noise alone.
About that. Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's not go there.
No, thank you. So, and then learning, hackathon or conference?
Oh, I've been to some good conferences, but I gotta say, hackathons is the way to go.
Okay.
I like to get my hands dirty.
Okay, yeah, no surprise there. Again, you definitely like a good rabbit hole.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There might even be rabbit or beer down there, right?
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. Coffee all the way. No. Energy drink is for the young kids. I drink coffee. I'm old school. Yeah, but that's not an energy drink. That's a soda.
I'm a kid, apparently.
I mean, Pepsi Max all the way, but that's not an energy drink.
Oh, I guess not.
Yeah.
All right, last one. AI unit tests or manual unit tests?
To be honest, I prefer the manual unit test, but it doesn't always go that way when you're working and you have a deadline. Especially if you want to drive TDD, but you want to drive at high speed, then sometimes AI-assisted test writing is the way to go. It's often a combination for me, so you can get the majority or the bulk of it written up with the AI, all the standard coverage, and then when you want to go into the edge cases and the more peculiar testing in terms of unit testing, component testing, I always go for the manual tests.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big TDD guy myself, so I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I really try to write my own test because I like to see the test fail under the right circumstances, right? And if AI writes everything, it's like almost like going backwards, right, to make them fail. And I don't really like it. I get why people are doing it because
no. I mean, even if you are TDD driving it and you're kind of setting up your code agent to write the tests, and then implement and then do a pass, and you kind of sit as man in the middle or human in the loop, and you try to kind of control the flow. That's still doable. But at some point, you're going to lose oversight of what tests actually are there. Are you having the right coverage? I mean, the coverage can say 99%, and then as soon as you deploy it to the test environment, it just blows up because it's actually not really testing the code. It's just marshalling some code. It's stopped wrong. Something is broken. It's always like that. So I prefer hands-on, definitely.
I agree. Well, a big thing for me is, we were talking bug hunting before. One thing for me is I always try to write a unit test that shows the bug when I find it. So I have that to do my fix against, right? So I want to see that test go green.
I mean, you cannot do that, but then you'll also prolong the bug hunting extremely much. You gotta find out what's broken and verify it by creating a failing test, because that's the only way you know you actually fixed the bug once you're done, right? Otherwise, you might have fixed it, you might not.
Who knows? Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. So that was the binary battle. Good stuff. Let's get into it. So I just looked up when ChatGPT was launched, and that's 3.5 years ago. And
I think we got some connectivity issues, Stefan. You kind of went out there for a second. I lost you. It got all
sorry.
black and
I was just saying I looked up when ChatGPT was launched. And that was 3.5 years ago. It seems like a decade or more, right? Seeing how much has happened. I remember the first time that I really heard about it in regards to development. I was working at a Danish client called Mobile Pay. Had a great colleague there called Mikkel, super talented guy. And I remember him pulling me over to his desk one day, like, have you seen this ChatGPT stuff? Like, it can actually write the code for you. And I remember thinking, you know what? This is ridiculous. Like, could you please learn to do your job? But I mean, fast forward like 2 months from that, right? I was like, this is amazing. And now it seems like
it just keeps getting better, right?
Going back to doing a little bit more manual. I do at least. So, but what's your take on like the current situation with this AI revolution?
I think it's hyped. Let me be frank and honest. AI for me is a super tool for being ramping up productivity, making you more productive, making things go faster. Especially as an engineer with tight deadlines, you always got to deliver more for business in a shorter amount of time, less money, less people. And in those circumstances, AI is a great tool to help you, but it can also be the absolute tormentor of your time and life on Earth if you do it wrong. I've worked with a lot of young, super talented people who actually never spent time understanding what they were coding. They just vibed it, and it was nice, and it worked until it didn't, and then they were all lost. I think you've seen the same. I know we were on the same project and saw some of the same things sometimes, right? It happens, and nobody does it by ill intent. And I completely get it. I have the biggest empathy for when you get caught in this. But I'm a little bit worried, to be honest, that if we keep this trend up and we keep telling all the young engineers that we can't use them, they need to manage AI, so they need to write prompts instead of practice doing proper coding, then we'll run out of senior engineers and there'll be a huge gap in knowledge. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the remedy for this? What do you think?
I think the remedy
how
is,
do we handle the junior devs?
I think what we really need to do is we need to learn how to use this tool correctly and need to understand what the tool does. So it's not deterministic. You're never going to get a deterministic result out of a current model state. We're so far from any sort of singularity, if you ask me. AGI is also not around the corner. I don't think anything major is going to happen. A lot of it is based on trickery and semantics, and then it's still just a probability model behind the scenes that kind of gives you a shot of what it thinks is the best next thing you want to write. To be all fair, I mean, if you look at some of the flagship models today, some of the new Quen models, some of the new Google Gemma models, Claude models, they're super good at writing code. I mean, they can write a nice React page with a good solid .NET backend in a matter of minutes that you would probably spend a week writing. It's okay, and it does it fine until it hits a certain level of complexity and architecture starts to come into play. And this is where I normally see things break completely. Because even if you write clear architecture instructions, the model has a problem at least as it is now, with the abstraction of architecture. So why do you need this decoupling? It doesn't really resonate, even if you put it in as a system and statement and you keep repeating it and reiterating it in every kind of prompt that this is what you need to do. It still tends to mess up a simple onion architecture layout or decoupling.
Yeah, it seems to me that like if you are using AI or you're vibe coding in a solution that is well structured and well documented, AI is doing a pretty good job. But on the other hand, if you're doing the same thing in a poorly structured solution with spaghetti code, it just makes more spaghetti code, in my opinion.
It's like throwing the Tasmanian devil from the Looney Tunes in the middle of everything and just letting it go bananas and spin around. Actually wanna challenge that a little bit. I think it's doing well in a well-structured code, as long as you're doing what you've done so far in the code base. The second you start to add new complexity in terms of a new business logic or a new business requirement comes in that deviates significantly in the logic or the behavior of the existing code, it will do exactly the same thing as if it was spaghetti code in many cases.
Okay.
At least to get there, you would need to write extensive plans, feed it extensive markups, maybe even feed it Ralph loops, do something like that. And it still might not get there. You might get 70, 80% out of it. That can also be that also could also be worth it. But yeah, I'm not too optimistic. And then there's this last thing about doing this. I've worked on projects where there was absolutely no use of vibe coding. I mean, models, don't use it, don't have access to it, blocked on the corporate network. But also worked on projects where it's like, we can vibe code basically everything here. You just vibe it. And I gotta be honest with you and say that after a couple of weeks, maybe a month, I started to get bored. It wasn't even fun going to work anymore because you're basically just prompting a model and then waiting for the model to return something while drinking coffee. Like, it doesn't really tickle my inner engineer. Kind of doesn't scratch that itch that you have where you want to solve a problem, you want to make something work. I even tried to see if layering architecture and abstractions and kind of working with that actually would free up some of your time and then still add that value into it. Honestly, I didn't get to that point.
No, and I mean, you still have to review the stuff that is writing, you know.
And
so
it's writing
when the bot returns, you
so
still have to go through
much
all
code.
that. Sorry?
It's writing so much code.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I mean, if you look at pull requests in an organization, whenever people start vibe coding, you will see a factor 10 or a factor 20 or a factor 100 in the amount of pull requests. And also in the liners of code that's added to the pull request. I mean, it codes like it talks, it chats, it just so verbose. It keeps writing stuff and putting in like wrappers and explaining, and it'll write a 50-line algorithm for something that is basically a one-liner. If you're unlucky, right?
Yeah. I think in my daily work, when I use it, I usually try to prompt it to make very small increments of the general problem that I'm trying to solve, right? So I have like the plan in my head. This is what I want to do from A to C, but I will start with very small increments. First of all, it's easier for me to prompt. And it's much easier for me to review when it's actually done with its suggestions. Like, okay, that was its approach. Okay, it's 80% there. I'm gonna change this and change that, add a few unit tests and all that. Yeah, so it's kind of like just lifting a little bit of the boilerplate stuff, and then I will kind of etch it into place the way that I want it to be.
And I think that's where you're right on the money, because that's also how I use it when I use it, and it is like a productivity increase that really makes a difference. That is when you do all the boilerplate stuff, all the shenanigans that you have to do that is language specific or framework specific, that just takes time to write. It doesn't necessarily add any business value, doesn't require any specific logic, doesn't require you to have any architectural oversight or anything else. You're basically just going through the motions because this is how a framework works. And that's cool. I mean, that's why you have frameworks. In those cases, absolutely use a model for that. Just get that plowed right through. It'll make you tenfold more productive, right?
Yeah. So we touched on it a little bit already. Like the fact that like being a junior dev today, that cannot be fun. At least if
Oh,
you
hell
think
no.
just five years ahead of like, what am I doing in 5 years, right? Because
Yeah.
when you and I started out, there was no, well, we had the Stack Overflow. Remember that? Like that was like the holy grail of problem solving, right? But it was so
John Skeet
manual
on
and
Stack
like,
Overflow, right? I was like, if he had a post in there on C Sharp, then you knew it was good shit.
yeah. And today, like coming right out of university or whatever, starting your first job and basically just starting vibe coding, it's like they're gonna be left behind because they don't. At least that's my opinion. Like the risk is that they actually don't learn how to problem solve correctly, how to
Yeah.
create solutions with a good architecture, and understand why architecture is important and stuff like that. So do you recognize this sentiment?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's right on point. I think we're doing all the young junior devs right out of university a major disfavor here. I
Mhm.
understand why we want to play with this tool. It is a nice and shiny tool. It is the best tool in the toolbox, and we can get a new one every now and so. There's a new version of a Claude or a GPT model, and it's amazing. But what software development really is about is problem solving. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we do for a living. Then we have a
Mm.
bunch of tools and we know some semantics that can help us kind of make the computer understand how we want to solve the problems. But we're solving problems for people so they can either earn more money or they can have a better workflow, or in the end, that's also making more money, right? Let's face it,
Mhm.
it's all about the bottom line at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you just don't understand how to solve these problems, then the entire conversation with the business units, the other techs, that's just that whole culture is going to get lost. And that's one of the things I really love about being a developer, right? That's these tech talks where you sit down with somebody who just knows their stuff in terms of a specific area, and they will share their knowledge with you, and you kind of get to absorb new things, learn new stuff, and things you thought you knew and then get corrected. I mean, a model is not going to correct you on anything. It's just going to please you and say, "Oh, yes, that's a really good
Oh,
idea,"
you're
even if
so
it's the
right.
worst idea
Yeah.
in the world. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
even tried for fun to build a solution and then just feed it really, really stupid suggestions and just being like adamant about it. I was like,
Mm,
"Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a good idea. Let's do that approach." Like, no, it's
mm,
not.
mm, mm.
Why are you doing it?
Yeah. But I think the main issue here is like it's always money, as you say, right? So
Yeah.
as a junior dev, you you have to be sitting in a situation fairly often where like, okay, I could implement this in 1 week, not using any AI and actually learn from it,
Mhm.
or I could vibe code it and deliver this in whatever 2 hours. I can't explain what's going on in the code though, but
Yeah.
I can deliver, right? And
I think
most businesses would be like, we're gonna choose the delivery, right? Because we want
just
to
get it
make
done in
money.
2 hours. But
Yeah.
I think you're actually touching on a very, very sensitive topic, at least a topic that I'm kind of passionate about. So I have seen this over and over again over the last decade, where you have juniors that come in and they join the workplace, and then you have good senior engineers, and they're too busy to sit down with the juniors and take them through the ropes of how you do proper software development.
Mm, mm, mm.
Sometimes it's insecurity, sometimes it's people are super introvert. I respect that. That's not what I'm arguing here. What I'm arguing is we learned somehow by somebody sitting down with us, or us banging our heads against the wall until 4 a.m. in the morning, reading Stack Overflow or reading books on how this is actually done, buying books at 700, I don't know, $100, $200 a book, trying
Mm,
to
mm,
plow through those to understand it, and then finding like one grain of gold in there. And then, oh, yes, I learned something new, right?
mm,
And
mm, mm.
nowadays, information comes so fast and at ease, and it comes undiscriminated and unfiltered and uncurated through these models.
Mm.
It's I think we're doing everybody a disfavor in IT when we don't have time to kind of lift everybody in the organization and work together on these things.
Right.
Because sideman training is still the best kind of training you can get, because you get that personal connection, you get that conversation going, and
Yeah.
that is exactly where everybody learns, even the seniors.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, I definitely have like a bad state of like the imposter syndrome, right? Like I have many years of
Always,
experience, but I'm
always.
still like, oh man, I feel like I'm the worst programmer in the room. But I
And you
think
know,
that's a
when
good thing.
somebody is looking at your code, right, you code like a broken arm. I mean, you can't even make two algorithms work. The second you're in alone, everything works fine. But it's
Yeah.
that mental threshold you got to cross. And once you start, you kind of get out of that comfort zone, it actually starts to become a little bit more comfortable working with other people. especially when you see the results it yields for other developers and how they actually excel at their work because you spend time with them. And I think that is more powerful than any AI model or whatever bonus they're going to give
I
you
totally
this
agree,
year for being
because I
fast.
mean, as a senior developer, I think it's very important that we accept the responsibility of actually helping the junior devs move up, right? So and helping them take the fight with the business. Like we understand that we can deliver this in 2 hours with vibe coding, but that's like peeing in your pants, right? Because it's going to be cold in like half an hour. It's better to invest the time to actually understand what the hell is going on. And we have the toolbox already. We have our pull requests, right? Yes. Sit down, make a good pull request review with the juniors. Ask the question, let them explain what the hell is going on, right? Because that's
even better. Do pair programming.
Yeah, do pair programming for that.
Do pair programming.
Totally agree.
Say, I got this task. This is a little bit out of like the regular scope. It's a little bit complicated. I'm not even sure I completely get it. Hey, you're one of the new guys. Do you want to join me on this? We could do this together. Maybe 2 heads is better than 1, right? And yes, it's going to be super uncomfortable to do. But also going to be out to say with you, like, I saw this trend even before AI became a thing. So we go 6-7 years back. This was already a trend. The seniors were too busy being busy and being important to actually spend time with the juniors. And I think that cultural shift is basically just amplified by AI.
Yeah, and then you add the business, the pressure from the business that we as developers are usually maybe a little bit introvert or don't like conflicts, right? And that's not a good combo. So we will always like try to please the business, and that
have you worked with me?
Sorry. Yeah, okay, maybe you're not a good example. It's true.
I don't mind a good conflict. I mean, I'll do conflicts all day. If I believe I'm right, I'll stand by. I'll stick by my guns.
True. I digress. I think
the biggest question is why I don't get fired more often.
Well, you're not afraid to say no or go to hell. That's for sure. In a good way.
True.
Yeah.
But to be honest, but let's put some more honesty behind that, right? Because yes, that's true. But I also had to learn that the hard way, and I think a lot of people don't get the chance to learn that the hard way, and they also don't get a chance to learn it the easy way. They just get a chance to opt out and vibe it, right? No conflict. You don't have to stand up for your beliefs.
Yeah.
So you kind of sell out on your craftsmanship, and for me, this is craftsmanship. Software is craftsmanship. It's just as much craftsmanship as a carpenter building a house, or woodworker building a cabinet, or, I mean, that takes finesse, that takes quality. You spend years of honing your expertise, and then you just want to give it all away to a model that does a shitty job. I mean, come on.
I actually saw someone, I think it was on Reddit, like a comment that they were like pondering if like the handmade thing that is a quality sign in carpeting, for instance, carpentry, what's it called? Like woodworking.
Carpentry.
Right, carpentry, right? Like handmade is like, that's quality. That takes time and skill to do this, right? And they were pondering, will that be the same in the world of code, right? Because
I think it will.
Yeah, I think it will. I agree. I totally agree. So do you think there will be more or fewer devs in 5 years?
Oh, you're touching on Jevons paradox here.
Yeah. Do you want to explain it, or should I?
So I can try to sum up quickly, right? So Jevons paradox is that it's this economical principle from way back when the steam generator was a new thing. And the principle is that you should actually use less coal with better steam generators. But what he observed, Jevon, was that was actually not true. So even though the steam generators got more efficient, the amount of coal being used just skyrocketed. And we're seeing the exact same thing with hours spent before getting to production in code with AI. Nobody's just willing to admit it because all the C-suite people have bought into Gartner and whoever is selling lies these days about AI being the new shit and you can fire all your engineers. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have more software engineers.
Yeah. I think this is a very interesting
job
paradox.
market nowadays. There is a lot of open positions, and we're approaching mid-May and June. That's normally where things quiet down.
Mm.
But there's a lot of open positions, a lot of need for software engineers.
And like the idea behind the paradox is basically because everything is more efficient. The clever people out there, they start like inventing new stuff that takes advantage of these newfound efficiency, right? So one example could be like before the local carpenter or whatever could not afford to have an app, for instance, but now he might have, right? So there's like a new market opening up for developers to kind of take these small tasks, and it could be in a lot of different areas that we could see this. But it's definitely interesting to see in 5-10 years what the curve will look like.
So if you look at the LinkedIn or Reddit or wherever you get your information these days, you see a lot of these curves where Java devs is going to be outphased. It just keeps going, the number of Java devs, right? Java has been out, it's dead for 10 years. Same with the mainframe, right? Nobody's going to use the mainframe. We'll sunset the mainframe. I'm pretty sure IBM is still making a bunch of money on the mainframes. I wouldn't mind learning PL1 or COBOL. I mean, I could make a decent amount of money for living out of that.
I could make a living from that, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
It's still not dead. We just got to recognize that there is a bigger need for IT. And I think we're actually hitting kind of a paradox before AI came, where the amount of people who are able to solve these kind of tasks across the board either make them way, way too expensive because they're super good, or not interested in solving the more tedious tasks, the more low-hanging fruits, the more easy, small apps. So everything became extremely expensive, right? I mean, at some point you had to pay 20,000 to get a website. Now you can get one for 1,500, 2,000. I don't know. It doesn't cost much to do these days, right? And it's because of AI. And I think that what feeds into Jevon's paradox here, that you see a bigger consumption, you see a bigger need, because there is a lot more availability. And when that happens, then people get ideas and innovation shows up and things starts moving. So I think that's what's happening here as well.
Yeah. And I also think that there will be a lot of businesses that will embrace AI, not in coding per se, but like in the models that you can build for predicting trends and stuff like that. So that would also be an opportunity within our field to be an AI engineer building new models for whatever stock brokerage or whatever you want to.
I've worked on a bunch of projects with AI engineers, and they're probably going to hate me for saying this, but if you do something with AI, then to get it to production and make it work in a business context, that is 85 to 90% hardcore software engineering. And then the last 10-15%, that is actual data science and making the model do something. Because it's fine, you have a model, but you need to feed the data in a structured way. You need to collect that data from somewhere. You need to source the data. You need to expose the data. You need to make it highly available. You need to make it redundant so it doesn't break. And all these things that goes into DevOps, that goes into development, or the classical engineer that does full stack. I mean, that's going to be need for more software engineers.
Absolutely.
And if you have good data engineers, they don't necessarily care too much for doing Terraform scripts and backend APIs. And if they do backend APIs like the best they can, but they don't have all the considerations about dependency injection and how you segregate and how can it scale later, and is it stateless, is it not stateless, do you need a cache for this? I mean, and that's fine, because that's not their specialty. That's not what they're trained to do, right? They're trained to understand AI and models and data, and of course they know how to code. I'm not claiming they don't, but we all have different traits we're good at, and we're super good at the more technical, boring stuff, if you ask them. And I think the mathematical models behind the AI is kind of boring anyway, so they can do that, and then I can do the backend API. It's a good mix.
Yeah. Super interesting stuff. Yeah. So is there any like tools that you're fiddling with or find really interesting that you would recommend people to look at?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of tooling, I think all this AI hype, it also has a backside, right? Because if you look at the US Cloud Act and where all your data is going, and all your data is property of the US government, more or less, or the Chinese government, or something outside the EU, because that's where most of the big frontier models are hosted. That's kind of a problem for some companies, especially if you have sensitive data. You can't just feed it to a model. I read this survey the other day that 75% of CEOs that they asked actually fed confidential data into AIs, ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot.
I'm surprised that it's that low.
Yeah, and I
Number.
think it's higher. I think
Yeah, I
they're
think so too.
understating it.
Yeah.
And they did it without really thinking too much about it because it's there, it's available, it's ready. You can just click it, it works. And I get it, but that's gonna be the next frontier here, if you ask me. That is the privacy and the confidentiality of how you use these models. So with that in mind, I can share my screen right here. Just see screen share. Yeah, that's fine. Yes. I don't want to share this one. So I got this fun little app going. So I use a MacBook. I like the way the hardware works, and Apple has
Seems a
this.
little bit distorted on my screen. Does it look okay on your screen?
Yeah, it looks fine on my screen on the video.
Okay. Yeah, I'm catching up now. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
go ahead.
good. So I got this tool called OMLX. MLX is the metal accelerator. It's basically the GPU CPU constellation in the MacBooks, and I got an M4 Pro here from this year. 24 gigs of RAM. It's a stock one, bought right out of the store. Nothing special to order. But I can actually here run a local model like the Google Gemma 4 26B model. 26B, that's actually quite a lot of parameters. And it actually runs on my local machine. It has a lot of nice admin settings. It has a nice. This is very easy going. I've also used other ones like VLLM or Llama CPP or Ollama for this, and I've tried out a bunch of tools. But this one is very user centric, very easy going. Where you can even go in and search in the catalog, say, hey, I want a GPT model, and then it searches. And, okay, that's the GPT OSS 20B model. You can download that. It should actually fit in your memory. Download it, fire it up, and you can chat it, and you can actually work with it. And it got this cool little feature that'll actually tell you how to launch Cloud Code with that specific model or a set of models, or your Codex, or your OpenCode, or your OpenClaw, or your Pi. Or if you just want to use the OpenAPI endpoint, it has that, and you can actually code it with an API key, and it works. So I've been playing around with this, or fiddling with this, and the Google model definitely performs best, right? I mean, let's try it out.
Yeah, but you're not on Google model right now, right? What's it called?
No, this is a Quen model.
Is that Google?
No, that is Alibaba's models. This is one of the newer frontier models. It's a 3627B. Let's switch to the Gemma model because that's faster. Well, if I can spell it, makes it easier, right?
Yeah.
So I'm exploring Ruby as a language. I think it's a super nice language, and I think Ruby on Rails is amazing. It kind of takes me back to some of the good old days where you did proper software engineering. But you can ask it if it can do something like a palindrome problem, which is basically you want to check if a word is spelled the same way forwards and backwards. One of those classic first year at university learning Java. I mean, do something that can find a palindrome with a recursive loop. That's always a good one. And then people have Stack Overflow and other recursion errors. That takes a little bit to load the model, but as soon as the model is warm and it kind of loads, then it actually produces kind of well results on my small MacBook. I mean, this is pretty decent hardware, but it is like ChatGPT was 6 months ago in terms of speed. And this is not costing me a single token. It's all running on my machine, right?
Yeah.
It even gives me an explanation of the time complexity here. I think that's pretty cool.
But I mean, like that machine that you're working on right now is pretty powerful, right? The M4 is pretty powerful. How would this scale on a more regular business laptop, for instance?
Yeah, on a business laptop, it would definitely not perform as well. And the reason for that is, for this to work, you need to have a lot of available GPU memory. The beauty about the MacBooks is that they have this unified memory architecture, which means that the GPU and the CPU can share the same amount of memory. So I can allocate almost all the 24 gigs to my GPU on my Mac. So the GPU isn't the fastest one. If you have something with an NVIDIA chipset in it, it's a lot faster. But then you have the memory bandwidth bottleneck. So I've also been testing this out, and I have an article out on Medium where I kind of test it out and do a lot of different experiments with models on my RTX 4070 card. I even do what they call mixture of expert offloading into memory, and then use that to kind of speed up speed up the process because it doesn't go faster, but it allows you to host a bigger model. So
Okay.
there's a lot of fun stuff with this. I mean, this is another rabbit hole where you can kind of dive in and never come back out, I think.
And where would a good place to start be? Well, if I wanted to start this up as my own little rabbit hole.
So first of
exploration.
all, figure out what kind of hardware you have. I mean, you can start using ChatGPT in Google, list the hardware and ask, so how do I get started with running local models from Hugging Face? I want to run either Quen or Gemma models. The Gemma models comes in these Edge versions, which is super small. And I think this is more or less what they're pushing into the new Chrome in secret without telling people. There's been some fuss about that all of a sudden Chrome is running a model. I think it's the demo model that they're pushing. But you can actually run on an iPhone as well. So you can do your own iOS app and run local chatting with the small 4B model. And for chatting, it's actually okay. For coding as an agent, agentic coding, it doesn't really work. And this is where this becomes a little bit more like technical and different. You need a lot of memory or a lot of context window to do agentic coding. And that's where you're memory bound once again. So unless you have a lot of memory, then you kind of get stuck at agentic coding.
Yeah. So just a total noob question here. So I'm using Obsidian. It's a note-taking system, which is just markdown files, right? But it's kind of linking like everything together. And it's really nice. I really like it. But sometimes I'm like, I wish I could, talk to my Obsidian notebook. Like, okay, when was the last time I had a meeting with Jesper or whatever? Could I set up this OMLX chat to kind of dig into the data that I have there?
No. For that you would need something else. But you can run OpenWebUI in a container, and you can connect to your OMLX instance or server, and then you can basically feed it your markdown files as memory or as knowledge base, and then you can actually chat to it. Or even easier, you could go like the easy route. Go back here, get that API token, or you can get the stats here. So you can see it produces 62 tokens a second, which is pretty darn good on local hardware. Yeah, it's usable, absolutely. But you could go here, you could basically install OpenCode. You can pick the model, and OpenCode will then have access to a disk. And then you can actually use the model to chat with it through OpenCode. But OMLX just have this chat feature as a convenience rather than something that is like highly production ready. I mean, it works. Don't get me wrong; it's nice, but I wouldn't use it in that context.
All right, that's pretty cool stuff. I mean, like pulling away from the big data tech companies in the States and China and whatnot, and keeping it local and not spending any tokens.
Yeah,
interesting stuff.
I've done a lot of fun stuff with this. You can also, if you don't want to put on your tinfoil hat and go privacy all the way and get nutty like me, then what you can do is you can use it to reduce your token usage. So instead of paying that $100 premium for a cloud code subscription, maybe you could use a smaller local model for some of the more tedious stuff. And Cloud also does that already. It uses Haiku, which is a smaller model for reading files, writing files, and that is super good for reading and writing files. But there's no reason that you use Cloud tokens or you use your consumption for that. If you have local models, you can run a 4B model from IBM, the Granite model. It's pretty good at handling tools. It's really good at handling files, and it knows its way around. It's not good for agentic coding, but it shouldn't be used for coding. It should only be used for actions. So then you start to build setups where you kind of make a delegation of work. I mean, it's just like when you were a young student worker and somebody asked you to make coffee and go copy a binder. It's kind of like the same thing you're doing with a model. I mean, nothing changed in the world, right? But it actually does provide a pretty decent reduction in your token cost. So what you can do is you can set up these smaller models, you can run them in parallel, and you can ask them to do the disk-bound work. That also means that it doesn't leave your computer. And then it's only the aggregates of what they produce that gets fed to the larger model that runs in the cloud.
That's interesting. It's definitely like an area where I feel that I should spend more time on like deep diving a little bit to have a better understanding of the different models and all that stuff, because that's definitely like a mumbo jumbo for me for sure.
It's like buying an old house, Stefan. You will never finish. You always have something to build on, something to
I can
tweak,
always
something
call
to.
you, right?
Yeah. And at some point, I'm not even up to date, right? I do it when it's necessary, and I have something neat or something pops up and catches my attention. But besides from that, it's just a hobby thing. Don't forget to brew beer just because AI is there.
That's true. All right, I think this was a very interesting chat, Jesper, for sure. So like just to sum up, I think it's definitely there's the roll call for all the senior developers to step up and help the junior devs, because if we don't, then we will be screwed, everyone, like in 10, 15 years, right? So use the AI for sure, but understand what the hell it's doing for you and what it's good at and what it's not good at. I think that would be like my takeaway for today. Any thoughts on that?
Use it with the needed discretion. I mean, it is nice, but don't sell yourself short. I mean, craftsmanship goes a long way.
It does. It does. Hard work always pays off, and I mean, you have to know your craftsmanship because it will catch up with you if you don't.
And in those cases, it actually makes a difference on how you're going to use the AI, because you will think differently. You will ask it different questions. You'll pose it different prompts, and that just makes it work better. It's the same model as the guy sitting next to you, but he might not have 10 years of experience, so he'll think about solving the problem a different way. So the way you wanted to solve problems also kind of affects how good it is at solving problems. It is basically feeding off your input.
Yeah, I think the future looks bright if we manage to not be blinded by the shiny new toy that we have.
Oh, look, a meteor.
So that's for sure. So last part of the podcast, Jesper, is basically just the chance for you to just make a shout out to someone that helped you or whatever, or maybe just put a few words on your business if you want to engage you.
So let's do that. Too many people to do shout outs to, guys. I'm one of the fortunate ones that had a lot of good seniors who spent time on mentoring, also telling me no. And I can list a bunch of names, but it's going to be very long. Then I'm going to forget somebody that's important, and I don't want to do that. So my business, J2 Consult, fairly new. We do basically everything software. We'll do advisory, we'll do building things, we'll do repairing things, we'll even do vibe code cleanup. We have a special rate for that. No, I'm kidding. It's the same rate. But
I can definitely recommend Jesper. Truly a pleasure to work with you and all our great guy. I mean, if you want to work with Jesper, be prepared for getting the truth, no matter if it's pleasant or not. And I mean,
I can say it in a nice way. Don't worry.
Yeah, you can. All right, I think that sums up this episode of the Code Chameleon. Jesper, thanks a lot for joining us. It's been
thanks for having me. It's fun.
And I look forward to hearing what you're up to in your next adventure. And to you guys out there, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Code Chameleon, and please join us next time.